I'm not, give me 1 second. Maybe more than one. Okay, maybe not one. So, can we just pray for a second? God knows I need it. Heavenly Father, we love you and we come before you and we thank you for this time to really glorify you and thank you for what you've done in Uganda. This is not about me and I don't want it to be anything having to do with me, so please get me out of the way and just let your words flow through me. We love you and we trust you for it, and all these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. So the reason I'm fooling around with, first of all, can I just point out all the stickers my granddaughters have put on my computer? I know you're all jealous. So I put together a lovely PowerPoint slideshow for all of you, and my computer is an Apple computer and it doesn't connect with your PowerPoint projector. So first I want to say thank you to Jerry, who really tried. I mean, we're talking bent over backwards to try and make this work. And so this was the only slide, which actually is kind of a perfect slide, that we could get to go up there. And so anyways, my apologies. What I was going to try and do was just put my tiny little computer just like this. You can see my pictures, but I don't know, can you even see them?
Tilt it down.
Tilt it down?
There you go.
You can see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then I don't know why, but for some reason this thing is, let me try this. Play slideshow. Oh, can you still see it?
Yeah.
All right. So the reason the pictures are really important is because I understand that you guys celebrated your, is it 44th anniversary last month. And Mountain Children's Ministry celebrated our 6th anniversary in January. And so I know that your theme was, being so thankful to God, and that's really our theme too, because none of this would be anything without God. So I thought, I'm going to celebrate God by showing you pictures on what it was like before and what it's like now. Like, those do-overs, makeovers, before and afters. And then we could get PowerPoints work, so. Anyways, God is good, and I'll just do this and go through it with you, and you guys just shout out and tell me if you need me to tilt it or whatever, and yeah, because a picture really.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you blow the screen forward. Just right there. You're gonna close it. Perfect.
Turn the pulpit around.
Yeah, turn pulpit around, set it down there.
Set it down there, and then you can figure out what.
See,
Don't touch it.
Set it up on the pulpit there.
There you
You can see it? Everyone can see it? Oh, thank you, God. Honestly, I'm telling you, I just want to stop before I do this and thank all of you for being such a wonderful family to me. Honestly, you guys are so like family to me. You really are. I mean, I don't do this speaking thing, and so it is like I'm like shaking in my boots up here, and yet to sit here and pray with you and I just love what in Psalm 40 verse 6 where it says how we declare the wonders of the Lord and how they just keep coming and coming, and it was just all of it, all the music. Where's the music people? Where are they? It was just beautiful. I'm not familiar with those songs at all. Just a closer walk with thee, and of course I love you, Lord. I know that. But I was raised in a Catholic background, and so I don't really know many of those songs. So for me, Rogella, was it you that got up here and said, "Oh, it's so nice to sing all these songs we know because we know the words"? And for me, it was nice to sing them because I'm like really focused on the words, right? Because I don't know them, so I'm like, oh, these are beautiful words. So, anyways, thank you for being like a family to me, and let me proceed. So if you can see that, then I can just, this is Ivan, and this is on top of our mountain there, and this is the actual day that we felt called by God to serve in Kabale. We've been serving together for like 6 years in Kampala, the capital city, and then we went out to Kabale, which is 8 hours west, as Rowena said, and it's really deep in the villages. This is Ivan's home village of Budakumwa, and he is a Bachiga, a Muchiga of the Bachiga tribe. So anyways, he had told me for 6 years, this is the most beautiful place on earth, and so I surprised him with a trip to go back there. It would be kind of like if your grandparents were from South Dakota, and when you were a kid in the summers, you would get to go up there and visit them, and you loved it, but you didn't live there, and you didn't really know much about living there, but you loved being there. That's kind of how Budakuma is for Ivan. Kabale is his home village. So I surprised him with this trip. In the morning, we walked on top of the mountain, and honestly, we separated. We went to either side. I turned, and I took this picture of Ivan just standing there. And honestly, I know you don't really hear the voice of God, but it was like God saying, you need to serve here. This is where he belongs, and this is where you need to serve. And so 6 months later, we retired from the organization we were working with, and we started in January of 2013 Mountain Children's Ministry. So that had to include that picture. Anyways, there's us, and that's what it looks like when the clouds are gone. It's a peasant farming community. When we went, Ivan had to bring with him, these 4 orphans from Kampala. These kids didn't have any parents that could take care of them, and so for the last 8 years of their life, Ivan had been their daddy. And this little boy up in the corner here is Joshua, and Joshua is who Rowena has been sponsoring since he's been 3. So Rowena's been connected with Joshua and with Ivan since way longer than we've been around. Anyways, so these 4 kids came with us, and Ivan, a single dad, nobody to help him with this. Now, this is the before, this is the after. He now has 10 kids that call him daddy, that live in his house. These are those kids growing up. There's Joshua growing up. And Ivan also has a wife now, and her name is Kara. And this is their little baby girl, Hannah. And then they're in the process of adopting Leah. And then, of course, we had to do a better shot of Hannah because she's the apple of his eye. And her birthday was last month. She just turned 1. And she's doing great. So they're very happy. When Ivan moved there, he did not have a house to live in, so we had a piece of land that his parents owned that they gave to us, gave to Mountain Children's Ministry. And we built this house. This is the beginning of it. And this is what it looks like now.
Wow.
So, yeah, isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
Yeah, kind of a cool story about the house was Ivan, no degree in architecture or anything like that. He's an electrical engineer. But he kind of wrote out this picture on the back of one of the kids' coloring books, actually. And so the builder just took it to heart. And our living room is probably 2/3 the size of this building, or this area here. It's huge. I mean, it's huge. We walked up there when the builders had started, the walls were as tall as the picture before. We walked up there and he sank to his knees. Ivan sank to his knees. And he said to me, I swear to God, Ma, I swear to God, I had no idea the living room was going to be this big because, of course, the bigger it is, the more it costs, right? And I'm like, that's fine. God obviously has something in mind. Well, people, that house, that living room holds over 200 of our kids for Bible study.
Wow.
So, yeah, it is they're jammed in there. But it's cool because you're like, oh, God, you knew that all along. So it was good. We started our ministry with 4 kids. These are 4 of the village kids, and they're just coming back from hoeing, actually, in the garden. You can see he's carrying his hoe there. And this is just this January when I was there. Over 400 kids at our Christmas party. Yeah. And they look all shiny and fresh because their parents get them all dressed up for the Christmas party. But, I mean, it's like mind-blowing how the word spreads and how the kids come. 140 of these kids are on the Mountain Children's Ministry program. 115 of those kids are sponsored and 25 are not. I brought 6 of my 25, like Rodella said there on the back there. So, yeah, a lot of need, a lot of great kids. In 2014, Ivan started playing football with the boys. The church gave us some property and he made a pitch. And now we have uniforms. We have our own little uniforms there. By the way, all of these things that you see, like our house and all the things you see, come from private donations that people just give to the ministry for certain things. This was someone who loves football, obviously. they don't come from any of the money that people send for sponsorship. We don't take any money away from the kids. It's just private donations that come for that. This is our local village schools. They are very poor. They don't have textbooks, they don't have supplies, they have nothing. So, and then they charge money for the kids to go there. And the kids have to wear a uniform, and they have to wear black shoes, and they have to bring their own, like, exam books and that kind of thing. So, this is where we started. The teacher has a textbook, and the kids go to school from like 7 in the morning till 6 at night. I'm not kidding you, 11 hours, because the teacher puts the contents of the textbook on the blackboard, and the kids write it in their little books, and that is teaching. Now, we are sending, I think there are 75 of our 140 kids are going to boarding school, which is a really big deal because we're sending them into the city of Cavalli, which is about a 40-minute drive. They're living at the boarding school where they get fed regularly and where they have all kinds of supplies. In fact, the school that we're sending them to has a bus. And the kids, I mean, it's fantastic, this place. The cool thing about this school they're going to is it's supported by a ministry in California. And so when they found out that we were doing ministry in Cavalli, they cut our tuition in half. We have 50% off on our tuition. And that includes room and board, so feeding the kids and everything. The thing about a boarding school that's so special there is that the kids usually come home from school and right away their parents are like, you need to go get water, you need to go get sticks, we need to build a fire, we need to cook dinner. And the kids, at 7 in the morning it gets light, and at 7 at night it gets dark because they're on the equator. That never changes. And so at 7 o'clock it's dark. They don't have electricity. They don't have lights in their homes. So they can't study. So at a boarding school, they have electricity. They have all the ways that the kids can study. So that's a really big advantage to them. This is our very first chicken house. This is our chicken house now. Yeah. This is Ivan with a lot of our eggs. This is all about self-sustainability. Our program is all about Uganda being able to take care of themselves. And dignity and people working hard for what they do. And believe me, chickens are a dang lot of work. This is our piggery. And by the way, you guys built this. Hillside Church gave us a donation. And so that was a separate donation that built this piggery. And someone was in charge of the children, and the children raised money for some pigs. I don't remember who that was. Do you remember who the lady was that was in charge of the is it? Gloria. Crystal sounds familiar.
Well, my guys only raised $30.
30 was enough to get us started, yeah.
Well, that's what we-
That was it. This is the new piggery that we're building. Obviously, we just got started on it. And it's going to be twice as big as the old one. So that's something that is a work in progress. And here, this was Thursday. Hi, little piggies. Aren't they cute?
Thank you.
Yeah. So we have 18 pigs, and they just keep reproducing. We have 2 pregnant sows, and we had 3 pregnant sows, and now she's had 10. So that is a in the black self-sustaining project. We have 2 other self-sustaining projects that are kind of in the red sometimes, like with farming, because we get droughts like you guys do, and no irrigation, blah, blah, blah. So these are some of our Mountain Children's Ministry boys. This is Ivan and Morris and Pledge. Your church doesn't sponsor these guys. These guys came to Ivan during holiday and said, we want to work in the fields, we want to help with the MCM and the farming project, so they are helping. Ivan paid them so they could have some pocket money for at school. But I mean, literally, I think they're getting paid like less than $1 a day for a full day of doing this. This is now we own, Mountain Children's Ministry owns 3.1 acres of property. It's actually owned by Mountain Children's Ministry. So that's exciting for us to have bought some land there. Land is really expensive there. Here's one of our girls harvesting potatoes. There's a lot of potatoes that we're selling. So that's doing good. This is a cow. We also have cows crossing our streets. We were thinking of doing a goat project for self-sustainability, and our board voted to get a cow instead to sell the milk and stuff. So we're going to try that. That is not our cow. That's just a cow to remind me to tell you about our cow. That's funny. This is our board. We have a board meeting every January, so we just had our most recent board meeting, that was it. And that's where we put out all these ideas, and that's where we get our budget approved and all that stuff. Some things don't change. So these are a few slides of things that don't change. This is our pastor, Sam. He has been our pastor from the very beginning, our supporting church. He's wonderful. He preaches to the adults, he preaches to the kids. He's very excited about it. And we have a lot of kids really accepting the Lord and praying and everything because of Pastor Sam. He's a wonderful, godly man. He also vets out our families. So if we don't know a family, he'll go and find out if they're appropriate for our program. This is there's no change here. Our children are still living in mud huts in the village. Our moms and dads and the families there are still peasant farmers. They're still out there digging manually, trying to make a living that way. Our children are still collecting water in jerry cans. We did drill a well so they don't have to go all the way into the valley, but they're still having to do that, and the adults are too. They're also collecting water with jerry cans. We're still having our Christmas and birthday parties twice a year. We've grown now, so we're getting 3 cakes. This was Happy Birthday Jesus. This is, again, just in January. And then we get kids up there, and these are all Roman candles. Do you guys know what those things, how they light up like this big? Yeah. These little kids, they run when Ivan lights those things. And then we still feed them a full meal twice a year with our birthday and Christmas party. They get beef, they get chicken, they get pork, they get chapati, they get all of the things they don't normally get to eat. They don't normally get those kinds of foods. All that and soda, big draw. No wonder we have 400 kids there. So, and then after the party, the Mountain Children's Ministry kids get a gift. This year they got mattresses, or if they already had a decent mattress, they got a backpack. They got to pick which one they wanted. This does not go out to all 400 kids. This just goes to the kids in our program. Ivan is still installing solar panels into people's homes. Yeah, and this year, now I'm going to start the slides out of things that are new. This year we had 2 sponsors visit us. That was something new. This is Patty. She's with her boy. Actually, this is where the boy keeps his rabbits. And so he was going up in there to try and find one to show her. But that's his family, and she went to visit them in their home. This is Stella, and this is the family that she went to visit in their home. They were so excited. She's sitting on the mud floor with them. This is God's Refuge. This is our guest house that we started in 2017. Again, all separate donations, but we built this place because we have so many kids coming up to the house that need a place to stay. And Ivan has 10 kids in our 3-bedroom house. So we built this as a place where we could put vulnerable children for a temporary period of time, because we're using social workers to get these kids back out into like foster care. Uganda is shutting down all their orphanages because they're finding out that it's not a good way to raise kids. The boys are stealing, the girls are getting pregnant. They're just kids making bad decisions because they haven't had a parent's care, you know. So anyways, this is not an orphanage, but it is a guest house. And over the holiday when kids weren't boarding, we had like 12 kids over there. And then this is also where our sponsors stay. And this is also where I stayed last time I came. Something else that was new for us is that we had a baby. The mom brought the baby up to MCM. The baby was dying. Honestly, Ivan said he didn't even know if the baby would live. So we took the baby to the hospital. And MCM took care of it, so the baby is at home now. And so he's doing good. That baby's name is Blessed. Isn't that an awesome name? Or we would say blessed. We also had 2 professional counselors from Kampala come out for the very first time. They stayed in the guest house. And they spent 3 days with us, and they talked to all of our teenagers from primary 6 through senior 6, either about personal counseling or about guidance counseling, career counseling. So that's them speaking to the group. That's them speaking one-on-one to each kid. And then we also had our first group of kids graduate. So these are our first 6 graduates, and we had a graduation party for them. These are the kids that are in back. I have them on the slideshow, but this is Purity. She's in 1st grade. I have to say, I love the way the mom combined the name Beautiful and Purity. Her name is Purity. And people are like, are you sure her name's not Purity? Or no, her name's Purity. Beardy lives in one of those little mud huts with her mom. Their dad abandoned them because the mom has mental issues. So the mom is actually living with another woman who's helping to take care of Beardy. This is Oscar Collins. He's in primary 2. He also is an orphan that needs help. This is Esther Alleluia. Esther Alleluia is her name. She's in primary 5. This is Mark. Mark actually was the recipient of heart surgery in England. His grandpa came to us and said, I have some land I would like to sell you because the doctors are going to provide the surgery for free, but I have to pay to get him out to England. And so MCM bought, that was our first piece of property we bought. He was able to send his grandson over to England, and now he's back in school and he's on our program. So that's Mark. And this is Davis. Davis is a double orphan, which means he's lost both of his parents. And he was, when he was an infant, I think he was a year and a half or so, and his uncle picked him up to live with him and his 7 kids. And now his uncle is the grandfather of like 5 kids, and his uncle came to us and he's like, because he's so much younger than his kids, he's like, I can't handle him. And so we're helping him. He's a good kid. And this is Pamela, and she's in senior 6. And she's just about at the end of her schooling. She just has like a couple years, maybe a year and a half to go. She wants to be a teacher. She's really bright. She's doing really good, and she ran out of money, so we're helping her. And I think that's the end, except for my slide. The world will be filled with your glory, God. And really, with your 44 years and with our little 6 years, isn't God good? I mean, he's so good. And that's all I wanted to say. If you'd love to sponsor a child, we would love to have you, but really the big deal is to give God the glory today and to thank him and to thank all of you for everything you've done. For people who sponsor a child with me, Mary Beth, and I have like your envelopes and stuff, so don't leave without getting those from me. Tony, Bonnet, okay, yeah. Okay, thank you so much, and God bless you.
Guess what hit me? Talk about the little boy. I think Mark, his grandfather would sell, was it grandfather or uncle?
Yeah, no, it's great.
Grandfather would sell his property so that he could go get help.
Yeah.
And we're battling over keeping babies alive.
Amen. I know.
Yep, but you know what? God is good. You know, God's the author of that love. God's the one who made that love, or created that love and put in our hearts. And you know, I think we all have room for for a child, that we can pour out love, that we can, we can do without something. Yeah, it might not fit your budget, but maybe there's something you can do without, that it will fit in the budget, you know? But even if you can't adopt a child, you can do something that just helps, because Mountain Children's Ministries, you know, they're helping all these kids. And anyway, thank you, Michelle. That was an awesome presentation.
Thank you.
And I'm so sorry that we couldn't put it up on the screen. But
I'll bring it next year and we'll do it again.
yeah. And, yeah.
It showed good there, though.
Yeah,
It was okay.
It was, yeah, especially for us that were up front. So anyway,
Yes.
so does anybody have a comment you want to say?
Yeah, or a question?
Oh, yeah.
Question?
Should have said that.
What's it about, sponsored child?
It's $42 a month,
500 a year.
or $500 a year.
Yeah.
And honestly, we have, because we have so many kids now and stuff, if you're someone who really, really, really wants to write to a kid, I'm telling you, the hope that you give these kids, I just can't even put words to it. To think that someone on the other side of the world has their picture and their information and is praying for them. I should have Mary Beth stand up and talk about it. It's just, try and tell you how big of a deal it is to them. It's a complete, you're making a huge difference in their life, that's all.
So what is their native language?
They speak Luchiga. They speak
But
Luchiga.
they know English, then if they're able to read.
Yeah, English is the trade language. And the children are supposed to start learning English in primary 1, but in the village they don't start learning until about primary 3 or primary 4, just because of the teaching situation. So when you choose a little child, like if you chose someone like Yuri, you're going to get drawings and pictures. And then as they get to be about Esther Alleluia's age in primary 5, you're going to get a picture of a cat with the word cat next to it. And then when they get to be, Mark's age, senior 1 and stuff, they have a pretty firm command of English, and they can write you pretty good letters. So I like to say to people, if you want to sponsor a little kid, then just so you know, the communication is mostly going to be coming from Ida and I about how they're doing. If you sponsor an older child, they're going to send you letters about how they're doing and what's going on. And just like you and I mean, some of us like to write, some of us don't. Some of those kids like to write, some of them don't. We're like, too bad, you're writing. So you can really tell. I have received 5-page letters from some of my older kids in second grade rather, who love to write. I mean, they just love it. And then there's the guys that are like, what do you want? What am I supposed to write about again? It doesn't make them any less thankful. They just don't like to write.
Yeah.
Yes,
I don't like to write.
Well, to sit down, for me and Tony to sit down and write, it's hard for us to write to them,
Yeah.
to tell them what our life is about, but I guess they're enthused about
they love it.
hearing about what
They
you're
do.
doing.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, okay, my granddaughter says I'm not allowed to write cursive.
Oh,
Because that's what we do. When I write to the kids, I write cursive. I don't know, what do they like? Do they like the cursive or do they want us to print to them?
the older kids will come to me, like Alex is older, so he'll come to me and if he has trouble with a word, then he'll ask me. But printing, they can obviously understand better just as printing, and a lot of sponsors prefer email. They just send me an email and they write it with the typing, and I print it up and I print up pictures for them. So
One other question. Ivan was here with you, what was it?
2 years ago, yeah.
How's his eye doing?
Did what?
Did he have a problem with?
Yes, he had. Thank you for remembering. Yeah, he had herpes.
Simplex?
Yes, it was in his. Okay, for anyone who's had chickenpox, you have that herpes virus lying dormant, and your immune system is keeping it dormant. Well, he was under so much stress with his life at that time that the herpes virus got loose and attacked his optic nerve, and he went blind in that eye for like a week. And then, I mean, tons of prayer and everything, he started slowly but surely to get his sight back. He has to wear glasses when he reads, but no, he's doing fantastic. As long as we don't try and get him out of Uganda.
One other-
Sammy.
One other question. Why are there so many orphans in the country? Do the people just have the kids and can't afford to raise them, or do they just abandon them?
No,
once they do
there's
have them?
probably 4 primary causes of AIDS, they have lost an entire generation of people for AIDS. And in Uganda, being a homosexual is illegal. And just recently, you only get thrown into jail. It used to be you got killed if you were caught in, that act. So people who have AIDS are not real excited about coming forward and saying, I have AIDS. And so therefore, you have more, it gets spread more often because people aren't admitting that they have it. There's a stigma on it. So AIDS, malaria, huge problem with mosquitoes and malaria. Dysentery, dirty water, and war. In northern Uganda, they have war going on with this LRA warlord guy. But those are the 3 or 4 rather primary causes. They have 2.2 million orphans in Uganda, and that's was started with the whole AIDS virus.
How many orphans did you say?
2.2 million. Yeah, and it's like the size of Texas.
Texas.
Oh,
It's
Not a
small.
big place.
No, it's got to be one of the smallest countries in the world. But they got nailed.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bonnie?
Yeah.
You wrote me, Michelle, that Crossy, the one
Yeah.
that she struggles,
Yes.
and you sent me a little bit, but do you say anything? Do you address that? Do you try to encourage her? Or would that discourage her? Or what's going on with her?
Yeah, we're all over that. We have like 3 kids who have learning disabilities, and
Okay, that's what I
unfortunately,
wondered.
yeah, unfortunately in Cavalli, they don't have, there's no such thing as special education for children with learning disabilities. So we're trying to figure out what to do with those kids.
Does she have a family?
She lives with Pastor Sam. Pastor Sam and his wife are her somehow relatives. I don't know
Okay.
how exactly. And they take really good care of her. She's so sweet.
When you talk about that they gotta carry water, how far they gotta carry it?
Well, it depends on where they're going, but it's usually about a mile. that
They
get
don't-
that water.
No one has ever come in there and drilled a well for the people?
Yeah, Mountain Children's Ministry drilled a well. Yeah, but this is, we're where the Westerners come to track the silverback gorillas. I mean, we are very, very rural. It's hard even to get a truck up in there, much less a drill.
No.
So there's a lot of obstacles, let's say. Anyways, back to Bonnet, we are trying to figure out what to do about these 3 kids we have. One of the girls we put in boarding school just to see if that would work. Like, I think she has microencephaly. I think she has a distinct physiological issue. But there's just, they don't have it. So what'll happen with Crossy, because she's getting older now, is she'll end up probably going to vocational school, which is fine.
Yeah.
And maybe learn how to play hair or do something that she can do, and that will make her very happy. She's a happy kid.
So just keep it really simple and don't address that. She isn't really probably aware of it.
She really isn't. I
Okay.
mean,
That's what I wondered.
yeah, sometimes she can be really embarrassed by it, like if Ivan were to say to her, do you remember the name of your sons, or something like that, then she would, like this, and you can tell that she's embarrassed and stuff, but for the most part, I think she's pretty unaware.
And she does remember Christopher, though. My name's not easy to remember at all, but she does remember him.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
That's good.
And of course, she remembers the whole fact that she sponsored and all that, because she's like, so pleased, they're so proud of her.
Right on. Okay.
Well, back to the fact of why are there so many orphans? Unless you visited a third world country, you don't realize the mortality rate is so much. I mean, here in America, it's gotten to where, we've far exceeded 70, but the mortality rate there is so different. And anyway, I can remember when we went to Peru to visit Bruce and Gail, and we both come back and we said everybody in America should go to a third world country for a while.
That's the truth.
And I think we would be doing what we're doing right now, making our country a third world country. That's what we're doing.
Don't make sense.
Yep, we are. That's what they're trying to do. But anyway, I guess we stand and adjourn in prayer unless there's any more questions. And then you can meet Michele out there if you're interested in talking to her about a child. And one thing I didn't mention was Crystal and the girls, we got a request this morning, or a text this morning. Devon's turning 13, and so they went to Disneyland, but they requested that I pick out a child for them.
Oh, awesome.
They want a 10-year-old boy.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, anyway, okay, so let's stand and dismiss. Bob, do you want to close it there?
Dearly Father, we